what Cody and Lady Clark have taught me about friendship is that it is just as much an act of charity to receive from somebody as it is to give to somebody.
Ooh.
Yeah.
People of Creston City, people of everywhere around the world, this is David Christopher Pacheco.
Hi, my name is Kimmy.
My name is Arthur Ortiz. Been in Denver since 1973.
Okay, so let's just talk in circles for a little bit.
Just talk in circles, just shoot the breeze a little.
Yeah.
You know, they see beyond what I look like. They see what my actions are and say, hey, that is a good person.
A lot of people say home is where the heart is, but my heart's in many places. It's just I don't know where home is.
Welcome back to Homeless But Human. Here with you today is Blake.
And here with you today is Shayla.
And we have two first-year missionaries who will be joining us on this podcast. We have Grant and Olivia. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Hey guys, why don't you tell us a little bit about your street team and what it's called, the route, and what the street team is like?
So our street route is Capital West. It's called Capital West, but it's really everything west of the cathedral. We have all of the Capitol building.
In downtown Denver.
Yep.
In downtown Denver, Colorado.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so the meat and potatoes of our route is from Colfax Avenue down Broadway and Lincoln out to Spear.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. How many people are on your team total?
4.
4 people.
4 of you.
3 first years and a second year.
Okay. And then 2 guys, 2 gals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the year, right, you guys all got placed on the same team. It was a big announcement at Christ in the City. It's one of the highlights of our orientation is your street teams. What was your first gut reactions to your street team? Olivia, let's start with you.
The way they did it was so dramatic. Like there was a TV and the names, it would be the street team and then your names would appear one by one.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember, the street routes meant nothing to me at that time.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I remember seeing the names go up and just being like, oh my goodness, I hardly know these people. And we also got the street teams after being together as missionaries for a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, really. You barely know these strangers.
Right. And I had prayed a lot about my street team even before. Once I knew I was coming to Christ in the City, I knew that I needed to start praying for my street team because they were going to be people that I would be spending a lot of time with.
It also goes to show so much about the importance of a team and how everyone brings different strengths to the team. So I'd love to hear from both of you. What do you think are some of the strengths of your team members?
Oh, this is a fun one.
I guess I'll start with Grant. Grant he's a big extrovert on the streets and
naturally
is just so good at talking to people like he already knows them. And somehow guiding the conversation from lighthearted and kind of surface level beginnings and getting down to the meat of what someone thinks about the world or what someone is going through, where that started. He just does it very naturally where I'll be on the streets and I almost won't notice how we graduated to such depth with a person that we've met.
Where Olivia shines on the street is I see her being able to really draw people out of their shells, which is something that we encounter people who may not have had a 5-minute or longer conversation in a significant amount of time.
Yeah, especially your route.
Especially our route. And Olivia has the ability to be a warm and comforting presence from the beginning and to just in the course of a conversation to draw somebody out of themselves and to begin that dialogue that is necessary for friendship.
So we have I love the team dynamics here. It's one of my favorite things. Grant brings this extrovertedness, this willingness to go from superficial to deep very quickly and smoothly. Olivia's bringing people out of their shells, right? A peace and comfort and a trusting presence. And then you have 2 other teammates, right? And you're well, what can be left? So Grant, how about Sterling? What does Sterling offer to your team?
Yeah, Sterling has a great awareness about the spiritual aspect of our mission.
Yeah.
When he's encountering somebody, he sees them through the eyes of Jesus, where it's not only this person standing in front of him, but it is this person who who is a soul, and a soul that is probably in desperate need of God's grace, and seeks to connect that person with Jesus.
Yeah.
He's like the mutual friend at a party that introduces you to Jesus.
Yeah.
And he wants to make that connection between our friends on the street and Jesus Christ.
I love that.
That's
right. The
huge.
deeply spiritual.
Yeah.
To round out that extrovertedness to depth and the comfort on the street. So the final teammate, Anna Reese, the only second year on your team.
Yeah.
Oh man, tell us a little bit about her and her team dynamics.
Anna Reese, it's interesting because she is at once bold and very gentle. She's like, will shoot straight, whether it's like setting boundaries or speaking like right into the depths of like someone's pain or experience. She's not afraid to just like enter into whatever it is that is like characterizing the encounter, but at the same time, she's very gentle. So she never does anything in an overbearing way. Kind of like Grant too, where it's like mysterious, like before you know it, it's just like happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Anna Reese she's a gift to have. For sure.
The formators had an awareness of all of this before they put us on a team, right?
Oh,
that's
sure.
what happened. Yeah.
After knowing you for a week and a half,
Yeah.
everyone knew that's what you guys were going to be like.
That's right. That's why we balance each other out so well.
Mm-hmm. So I would love to hear about some of the friends that you've made on the streets this year. We'd love to hear about some of the people that you've met, and maybe if you both want to share a story of an impactful moment that you've had with a friend on the street.
So this was September. It was pretty early on. It was like a Monday morning, beginning of the week. And I just think like the overarching theme of like this entire encounter and honestly our friendship with him like is divine timing. So we park at the cathedral parking lot with a few other street teams every morning. We get out, we pray together, and then we go out on a route. And that particular morning, we kind of dilly-dallied longer than we usually do in the parking lot, which isn't characteristic for a team. Like we get going because we have a big territory to cover. But we had stayed kind of late in the parking lot this time. We prayed as we usually do for the Holy Spirit to guide our encounters. So we started walking down Colfax to an apartment building on our route. It's a building it's low-income housing for the elderly and the disabled. And Grant and another one of our street team members had met a man who lived there. So we went that day with the intent of meeting him and talking to him.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to us, God had very different plans. But we go into the building, and just as we're like opening the door, this man like flies out on his electric wheelchair. So like we hold the door for him. He's got like tubes of all sorts like hanging out from his like a lot of like medical stuff. And he goes by us, goes down the corner. I didn't think anything of it. And so we're standing in the lobby trying to get a hold of the guy that we had come to visit that day. And we couldn't track him down. And so we were standing there trying to figure out, okay, are we just going to leave and like do regular street walk today? And at that moment, the man in the wheelchair who had left when we arrived comes back into the lobby, and he's clearly like lingering and waiting for us, like waiting to talk to us. And so we decide what we're going to do. And he stops and he goes, "Are you visiting?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, we know somebody in the building. Like we're going to go see him. Do you know him?" And he goes, "Well, I could use visitors."
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
And we were like, "What's your name?" And so we got to know him. His name was Cody. We were like, "Sure, we'll get your number. We'd love to spend time with you." And he was like, "I'm on hospice. Do you know what that means?" And we were like, "Yeah, we know what that means."
Wow.
And we were all just really struck by his like forthrightness in stating his loneliness and like begging for our company.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so once we couldn't get a hold of the guy we'd come to visit, we were like, well, let's just go
Yeah.
hang out with Cody. And we ended up spending the next 2.5 hours like
Whoa.
just sitting, talking to him, getting to know him. Something that we were really struck with about Cody is that he like seems, we get used to, as Christ in the City missionaries, like doing a lot of asking the questions and doing a lot of the listening.
Yeah.
And so we were initially surprised by like Cody's desire for us to share and his desire to listen to us and to know us. And so from the beginning, it was actually like a very, what I would call like mutual friendship.
Yeah.
It can almost be like striking, I'm sure. Like, whoa, he's asking a lot of questions here. And, things you forget how to answer, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like he wants to know about me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we've gotten to walk with him. That was September in his journey because he at that time like wasn't able to take care of himself. So we would get there and we would heat up his coffee or like bring him a little bit of something to eat because he couldn't even get out of bed.
Sure.
And we later find out that the day that we saw him on his wheelchair exiting the building was like the one day in the last multiple months that he'd even had the strength to get into his wheelchair on his
Oh
own.
my goodness.
Wow.
So like if we hadn't dilly-dallied in the parking lot, if he hadn't like gotten into his chair that day, like, and we hadn't crossed paths, we quite literally never would have met him.
Wow.
Whoa.
So I think it was certainly a gift.
Do you still see him regularly?
We do. We're planning to see him this week, in fact. But yeah, we've been friends with him over the past few months, and it's been a really cool opportunity to see how this ministry not only affects the homeless, but those who are experiencing that poverty of loneliness in general.
Yeah.
Because Cody, he was isolated in his room. At a certain point, he went to the hospital to receive care there. And now he's in an assisted living center in Denver. And we have walked with him through all of those stages.
Yeah.
And it's been an incredible, I guess, ministry, and also like just a recognition that friendship is not confined to the mission. Like it goes beyond the fact that we met him in this apartment building on Colfax Ave. It's
But again, it's just that loneliness isn't isolated to the streets, right? And it's what a gift, Cody. Like once we're encountered like that by you guys, like Cody wants to share that.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to share that. And for your team, it sounds like serving the elderly has been a theme, and you have another person you were interested in sharing more about.
Yeah, so our friend Lady Clark lives in the same apartment building that Cody used to live in before he moved to the assisted living center. And she just turned 90 years old.
90.
And we had the privilege of meeting her in September. And we began just by having simple conversations with her on the street, mostly about her life, her upbringing, her business advice. And slowly our friendship transitioned into her inviting us over and really taking care of us in a very maternal way.
Yeah.
She would make us biscuits. She would make us coffee.
I love it.
And we had the privilege of being there at her 90th birthday party. We hosted her 90th birthday party in this apartment in the community room.
Wow.
It was a great day.
So fun. Right? Just celebrating life, right? Even at 90. So good. And I love that reflection of like, she just turns on her maternal instinct and takes care of you. Right? And it's like, I mean, it can be hard to receive that as a missionary. Like it is really hard to receive that kind of love, right?
Right. Like, well, I mean, totally counterintuitive to my first intuition about what street ministry would look like. It's actually Lady Clark ministering to me.
Yeah.
And she like is showing me the love of a grandmother, which was such a blessing for someone who like both grandmothers passed when I was young. It was this is an experience that I would like, that I get to experience because I'm here at Christ in the City and missionary here because of Lady Clark.
Oh, that's so special.
That is.
You never know. So you guys met her out on the streets or okay.
Yeah, she likes to park her walker on like sunny days and just talk to people who pass by.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. So you both were just like, well, you both were looking to talk to someone and then a beautiful friendship.
Right. Just a testament though to people need people, right? We do best in community. And even Lady Clark, a 90-year-old, right? Like we're never too old to have friends or community. And I love that. Cody and Lady Clark, so fun. Man, is this your guys', I mean, you said earlier your route's like 4 miles or so. Is this your ploy to not walk? Just find people in their residences? And well, I won't tell anybody, don't worry. So, that's so good. So good. And what have you guys learned? Like what have been some of your biggest takeaways that the Lord has called you to work with Lady Clark and Cody, two elderly people in, the later stages of their life?
What Cody and Lady Clark have taught me about friendship is that it is just as much an act of charity to receive from somebody as it is to give to somebody.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which one's harder?
Definitely receiving. No doubt.
Yeah.
I
No
had a
doubt.
feeling you were going to say that. You were squirming as you were saying it, right? It's like, very real. If we only all just gave, it's not, you can't be a relationship, right? Like someone must receive.
Right.
Yeah, this is half baked. Like I'm still putting words to it. And I think this goes more for Cody than for Lady Clark because hers has been like more of a stable friendship. And Cody's like, we've seen him through a lot of transition and a lot of like difficult existential places.
Yeah.
But I think something that Cody has taught me about friendship is how much it is just like being with another and like waiting with another and not like leaving the other through everything that they're going through. Because there were times, like Grant and I went to see him when he was in the hospital, and we spent like 3 hours with him on a Sunday afternoon. And it was just like despair for 3 hours, talking about death, like talking about all of these like heavy things and not really feeling like anything was changing. And I felt like so helpless as his friend in that moment. But that and like so many other instances with him have taught me how much it's just about like staying and not leaving, which I guess like goes back to the imagery of Mary and John at the foot of the cross. Like
that's exactly what I was just thinking.
They just stayed.
It's so wise.
And my friendship with him, I think, has grown me in that patience and trust of just staying.
Yeah.
And thank God, like in just 5 months, we've seen so much beauty come from those places.
Yeah.
I love that, Olivia. Right? It's like you're just there.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you guys too for staying with him. That's not an easy situation to be in as a missionary or as just a person in general, to be with someone in hard times. So thank you for being a good friend to him.
Yeah, and for all the listeners, we ask, just pray for Lady Clark and Cody. I mean, we love, who knows what those prayers can do. We'll know in the next life, God willing, but you know, it's just always a joy. And Olivia, you have a shout out here that you want to give.
I wanted to give a shout out to Sally Alder and everybody at Shared Bread who are faithful listeners of the podcast and just who carry on aspects of this mission out in LA.
I love it. Shared Bread. Shout out to you. Thanks for listening and serving the poor in LA.
Yeah.
Wild place there, but such a good, just a perfect place to have your light on those streets. Yeah. And Grant just wants to give a shout out to all those former seminarians.
Stand up. All former seminarians, look into Christ in the City, come here and learn how to receive.
Whoa.
Vocation directors, we're not taking them from seminary. Just the ones who've discerned already, right?
That's right.
Yeah, no, we very grateful for both of you. Our Californian and seminary dropout, just such a joy.
Coloradan.
Yeah, Coloradan. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, no, the Lord called you out. It wasn't, you know how it works.
Blake, you get me, man.
I get you, Dan. I get you. So.
Well, thank you to all of our listeners who tuned in today. We hope that you enjoyed the stories that Grant and Olivia shared from the Cap West team. Cap West is the best.
Cap West.
Yeah, and just encourage you, look in your life. Are there any elderly the Lord may be calling you to serve? Right? To just be with Mary and John at the foot of the cross, or they're calling you to drink their coffee or eat their brownies or whatever it could be.
Or make them brownies that they will eat.
Brownies, right? But I just encourage you, no matter where you are, especially all of our small town listeners or those without a chronically homeless population, like there's so much loneliness. And let's do it. Let's join this movement to serve the poor.
All right.
God bless.
We'll see you all in a couple weeks.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Mother Teresa, one of our patrons, would say, if I look at the masses, I will not act. If I look at the one, I will. Because of these one-on-one encounters, because of people like you stepping out of your comfort zone, this mission is spreading. This mission is making its way into parishes, schools, seminaries, and communities nationwide. We have families making care kits for the homeless, college students coming on week-long mission trips and then going back on fire to serve the poor in their cities, seminarians and small groups across the country doing Christ in the City style street ministry. This mission is becoming a national and worldwide endeavor, and we're so happy you're here. For even more in-depth Christ in the City training, videos, and interviews with the homeless, we invite you to join our known and loved monthly giving community. This is one of the most impactful ways you can join us in this mission. Visit christinthecity.org and make a monthly gift today to join our known and loved community and receive a special Christ in the City gift. Imagine with me for a moment if every homeless person had one friend who cared about them. What a difference that would make in the world. And what if that one friend is you? You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, podcast platforms. And do us a favor and go hit subscribe and leave us a review. God bless you.